Good morning, everyone. This is Dewey, and this is my Tech Talk. Today's topic is browser extensions and about browsers. Recently, I took you through steps to add the very helpful print-friendly extension to both the Chrome and Firefox browsers. It dawned on me later that it would be good to know more about browser extensions, so here goes. Extensions are programs that live and run directly on your browser. Most extensions make your browsing experience easier, quicker, and better. Unfortunately, not all extensions are wonderful and helpful. Some have ulterior motives, and others can be downright nasty and maybe even harmful. Ask yourself, do you know which extensions your browser has or the browser you use the most has? If you're uncertain how to find your extensions in the first place, do a Google search to learn how. Once there, do your best to sort out good and helpful extensions from others that appear questionable. If you know and recognize the name, names like PDF Viewer, Google Docs Offline, or LastPass, which is a password manager, you're probably okay. If you find unfamiliar names, take the time necessary to do a thorough follow-up on each one. I have an example for you. Last year, I found a Firefox browser extension called Media Player Search. I had this extension on my own Firefox browser. I Googled it and got lots of results about media players, but they didn't seem to make much sense. So I added quotes to the words Media Player Search and discovered that it probably was or could be a very nasty browser redirect virus. I'm not sure if you know what that is, but I'll tell you, you don't want to get it because it'll make life miserable till you get rid of it. It took me nanoseconds to quickly choose the option to remove it rather than simply disable it. Another thing, it's good advice to have the minimum number of extensions possible. Remember that a single unknowing click can bring you an unwanted extension. This provides an obvious reason to take time every so often to check out your browser extensions. Another bit of advice is to pay close attention as well to the permissions that some extensions require. You'll have to go with your instincts on that. Finally, it's always a good idea to have your files backed up. When and if something bad happens, your precious photos and documents will remain safe. Want to give a shout out to Hewie, who did a really great segment on backups last Monday. Now about browsers. The popularity of browsers in North America is constantly evolving and changing. The astronomical growth of Google's ecosystem, along with the ever constant popularity of the Apple ecosystem, make the Chrome and Safari browsers, respectively, the most popular in North America. Now, here's a chart from statcounter.com on browser market shares in North America. That's Canada and the US. Chrome obviously is number one at 52 point something percent. Safari follows it at close to 32%. This may surprise some that they're that close, but you need to realize that statistics seem to indicate that the Apple ecosystem has a larger share in Canada compared to the other system than Chrome does. Well, anyway, the Microsoft Edge browser is the next one, and that is growing in popularity, though it shows only a little over 4% here. Other browser market share services are rating it up around 7, 8, even 9%. Firefox, although, continues roughly around 4 or 5%. And you can look down the list at the rest of them. You'll recognize most of the names. Second from the bottom is called Edge Legacy, which is the old Microsoft Edge browser, languishing at less than 1% use. For what it's worth, a new browser called Brave is drawing attention from some security-minded users for the primary reason that it blocks tracking. In other browsers, advertisers try to track users' browsing activity and maybe even their identity. Brave blocks this and allows track-free browsing. As well as the privacy advantage of Brave, this browser is also quicker. Brave can load popular websites up to 6 times faster than Chrome, Safari, or Firefox. It achieves this by not loading extra images, JavaScript, and tracking data. Brave is built on top of Chromium-based open source software and provides the same features and functionalities provided by Google Chrome. Most of the extensions available in Chrome are also available with the Brave browser. One downside of Brave is that hobbyists and independent websites who rely on browser advertising income lose it in the same way that ad blocker software and even extensions like Print Friendly may cause them income loss. You know, when you don't see the ads, there's less clicks, and that's what it's based on. Brave has an interesting answer to this problem called Brave Rewards. Once a month, Brave anonymously calculates the attention given to sites visited and compensates these sites with a type of cryptocurrency. That's kind of interesting. Another downside reported by Brave users is that the voice search microphone usually doesn't work well compared to Chrome's very great and excellent search mic. Nevertheless, if you're big on tracking privacy, you might want to take a closer look at the Brave browser. You know, a thought occurred to me. It's sure great that spouses are not at all like browsers. You know, it's no problem to get rid of an old one, and a new one can really make you a lot happier. Of course, I'm speaking of browsers. Anyway, you have a good day, and thanks for listening.
Okay, good morning again, Tech for Seniors. Windows Hello, that's part of the Windows 10 system, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the capabilities today, specifically how you can use a secure PIN, fingerprint, or facial recognition, and then also a little bit about replacing your existing hard drive with a solid-state drive and maybe adding some memory to an older computer. So Windows Hello gives Windows 10 users alternative ways to log in. Remember when you had to type in your full password each time you wanted to log into your PC? So the first step forward was when you could use a 4-digit PIN, and that concept continues today as a popular alternative. Then we transitioned to a typeless sign-on, and that mainly was the fingerprint reader. So my 9-year-old HP Pavilion laptop fingerprint reader worked sporadically until I replaced the hard drive with a solid-state drive, and now it works perfectly as expected. But facial recognition cameras are becoming the rage. It's not just a webcam that takes a picture, but a camera that verifies a person by comparing and analyzing patterns based on that person's unique facial. So how do you set up the Windows Hello face recognition? Well, step 1, you go to Start, Settings, Accounts, Sign-in Options. And from there you can start the Windows Hello wizard to guide you through the process. Step 2, you stare at your webcam for about 30 seconds, maybe a little bit longer, while the camera builds up a picture of your facial contours. If you wear glasses like I do, you can opt for images with them off to further increase the recognition ability. So how secure is facial recognition? It's really able to determine between you physically being present and a picture of you. Identical twins cannot fool Windows Hello. An experiment in Australia using several sets of twins did not fool Windows Hello into thinking it was the same person logging in. This sign-on tool has become very popular for corporate enterprise level security, since this feature greatly improves mobile worker security if lost or stolen devices with sensitive data and information fall into the wrong hands. So there's several types of facial recognition cameras. The Logitech Brio 4K with HDR, high definition resolution, and $199 would be considered on the high end. Advantages: excellent quality, simple plug and play, and it works. Disadvantages: yeah, it's expensive. And then you can get the no-name 1080p webcam. This is one I purchased in August for almost $66, and now it's under $50 on Amazon. Advantages: reasonable price. Disadvantages: there's no built-in microphone. Okay, let's see if I can make a demonstration here of how the Windows Hello system works when you have an infrared camera in your laptop or computer. So I'm going to turn on Let's Computer. It's beginning to start, and it's a solid state drive, so it should come up quickly. And there you see it, and I'm signed in just because it looked at my face and was able to make the connectivity. Okay, here it is. A Windows Hello facial recognition camera. Special kind of camera that measures different parts of the face to prove the person is who they should be. Here's what it looks like. It's not that big. It fits on top of my monitor. And I'm going to show you now with the new solid state drive I installed in my desktop computer over here. I'm going to show you how quickly this computer now boots up. So let me go down. I'm going to press the on button, and then you can count to yourself if you like. Okay, she's on. I'm going to come up here, and you'll see that when it boots and the camera comes on, it should see my face and immediately log me in without me needing to do anything else. So it's coming on, it's coming on. You can see the little wheel turning. Here we go. It's on, it sees me. Hello, Ray, welcome. And I am signed in. This monitor, as well as my second monitor side by side here, are both operating and ready to go. All right, here's my music computer. Now this is a 9-year-old HP Pavilion. I did recently replace the hard drive here with a solid state drive, and this one already has the fingerprint reader. So let's give this the test and see how long it takes for this one to boot up. So I need to hold the camera. Here's the on button. I'm going to press that now. And it's starting to boot up, and let's give this one the test. You can see my reflection there in the screen, but it's starting to come on. There's the HP signal, there's the Windows window. And then one more or a few seconds, it's going to ask me to put on my fingerprint. Oh, there we go, it's flashing over here. I give it the fingerprint. Hello, it says hello Ray, signs me in, and boom, I'm ready to go from a 9-year-old laptop that by any other standard would be considered old. Changing out the hard drive to a solid state drive makes all the difference in the world. I also, in both of these computers, I've increased the RAM to the maximum where they now both have 16 gig of RAM. Okay, so the bottom line, you want to replace your hard drive with a new solid state drive and add additional memory to an older computer instead of having to buy a new one. I use Crucial.com. I find that to be an excellent website for determining the capabilities of your older computer. The site can scan your computer and tell you not only how much RAM you have installed, but which slots have how much RAM. So understand this, that laptops have 2 slots available. So a computer with 8 gig of RAM can have 1 slot filled with an 8 gig chip, or 2 slots filled, each with a 4 gig chip. And that will help you determine what you need to buy in order to bring it up to more memory. The site will tell you how much RAM your computer is capable of handling. You may want to expand to 16 gig, but your system may only allow for up to 8 gig depending on the type of motherboard. Crucial will also show you the price and size of solid-state drives that your computer can accommodate. I happen to like Samsung as they come with software that makes it very simple to clone your existing drive. All right, folks, thank you very much.
Tips and tricks for your Chromebook. I'm Hewie Poplock. Getting around Chrome OS. The Chrome OS launcher, the drawer-like interface that appears when you tap the search key or hit the circle icon in the lower left corner of the screen, is actually a powerful universal search tool. Just start typing as soon as it appears, and you can find and open apps, pull up websites, and even get answers to specific questions right then and there. No clicking or digging required. Let's see. I am going to click on the search key. When I do, all I have to do is start typing. Hit enter. It opens up the browser and takes me right to the website. That quick, that easy. The Chrome OS launcher has some easily overlooked extra powers too. Let's try typing in some calculations. Let's just type in 45302 and say divided by 29 and hit enter, and it brings up the calculator without me having to open the calculator and type everything in, figure out how to do it. I do it right from the launcher. Let's try something else in the launcher. $999 Canadian to US, hit enter, and it's $761.51 in US value for that same computer. So you can type right into the launcher without having to open up the calculator, without having to go searching, without having to go to a website. You can do it right then and there. A very powerful tool and time saver for your Chromebook. You can hide the shelf. That's the row of pinned favorites down here at the bottom of your screen. You can do it by either right-clicking or clicking with two fingers or long pressing on it and then selecting the Auto Hide Shelf. So let's right mouse click on it and Auto Hide Shelf. And then if we go away with the open up, if we open something up, it goes away. To bring it back, we just have to click, move it down to the bottom and click, and it comes back. I don't like that, so I'm going to go ahead and always show the shelf. And so it doesn't go away. Now you can also, when I right mouse click, you can change shelf position. And when you do that, you can move it to the left or the right or keep it on the bottom. It doesn't go on the top for whatever reason. Here's another trick that you can use with your Chromebook. You can quickly open any item on your shelf by pressing the Alt key and then the number key that corresponds with its position. For instance, Chrome here is Alt, it would be Alt 1, Gmail would be Alt 2, Alexa would be Alt 3, the clipboard history program that I'm using would be Alt 4, and so on across the board here. So let's take a look at that. I am going to hold the Alt key down and then press 1 and my Google Chrome opens. Let's do Alt 5. And the TV listing program opens. Let's do an Alt 7. And my simple note opens. That's all there is to it. Very easy, very quickly open up any program from your shelf by clicking on Alt and then the number of its position. The Chrome OS boasts a distinctly Android-like combined quick settings and notification panel in its lower right corner. You can open it without moving your hands off your keyboard by pressing Shift Alt N. Let me show you what I mean. Shift Alt N, and it opens up the quick settings and the notifications.
Good day, it's Ron Brown talking about Chromebooks. Well, you've got your shiny new Chromebook and you're ready to use it, and there's nothing on your screen. So you're wondering, where the heck do I get programs? Well, today we're going to talk about where you get your apps and extensions to help you with your Chromebook. Let me start by explaining the difference between Windows and a PC device versus a Chromebook. You probably come from a Windows background and remember that we have programs with Windows. Well, with a Chromebook we have apps and extensions, which are a little bit different. Let me explain about programs in Windows. Those of you who have had Windows in the past understand that when you install a program into Windows, there's a whole bunch of stuff that gets dumped into the operating system. In fact, the program becomes part of the operating system. And there's a lot of files that are installed, such as DLL files and so on and so forth. The problem is when you want to get rid of that program, oftentimes it's very difficult to pull all that stuff out of the operating system. And then after a while you've been installing programs, your Windows machine doesn't work that well. It slows down and bogs down, all leading to problems with Windows. You have a Chromebook, that's great. You don't have any of those problems. Because you see, the Chromebook works fundamentally different. The Chromebook works with apps and extensions. So what is an app? Well, an app is a piece of software, but the Chromium operating system treats apps as hostile. Well, what does that all mean? Well, it means that the app doesn't install into the operating system, it sits on top of the operating system. And the operating system looks up there at the app and says, you are a bad guy and you're not coming in. So there is no interaction between the app and the Chromium operating system, which keeps you secure. And what does that mean for you? Well, it means you can download and install all apps you want, and then you can delete them. So you can have lots of fun. And there's hundreds of thousands of apps. You're going to have so much fun with your new Chromebook installing all these apps. All right, so you shouldn't be afraid of that. They're not going to install into the operating system, and they just sit on the surface. The second part of this is going to be extensions. And because your Chromebook is primarily a Chrome browser, a lot of the functionality of a Chromebook comes with extensions. So today in this video, we're going to talk about apps and extensions and where you find these things, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, there are two places that you can find apps on your Chromebook. Both of these sites should be installed already on your Chromebook. The first place is the Chrome Web Store. We'll show you that in just a minute, but this is where you can download and install apps and extensions. This has been available for Chromebooks since the very beginning when Chromebooks were launched. Now, around 2019, Google made a big announcement and said that all Android apps that are on your smartphone would be available to use them on a Chromebook. This was a big announcement and pretty significant for Chromebooks. You will find, if you've bought a Chromebook recently, that the Google Play Store now is also pre-installed on your Chromebook. So you also can go to the Google Play Store and download and install Android apps on your Chromebook. These by and large will work well. Over time, Google is slowly going to phase out the Chrome Web Store, and most everything will be done through the Google Play Store. But for now, you should have both on your Chromebook, and we're going to show you where these are in just a moment. Here we're going to start at the Start menu, and if we go to Settings, bottom right hand corner, let's go up to the Settings icon, and here it is, and we'll click that. And now we're going to come down. We're going to scroll down on our page until we come to the Apps menu. And you'll see it says Apps there. And then we're going to come down to the Play Store setting here. This is called the Google Play Store. Click the little button to the right, and you're going to see that it's already installed on my computer. But I could remove access to the Play Store. And maybe situations if someone's going to be using your Chromebook, or you may be setting it up that you don't want people to have access to the Play Store, and that's where you would remove it. But you should have, your Chromebook should come with the Play Store installed. If not, that's where you would install it. Now, managing your apps can be done from this menu. And we're going to click the little bar to the right, the little arrow to the right. And bingo, this brings up all the apps that are installed on your Chromebook. Now, there are some times when you might want to look at these, and let's take a look at the first app called AccuWeather. There are a lot of options here. Now, you normally don't have to really look at this menu, but you can pin to the shelf. You can accept notifications or not. You can look at your permissions for all the apps on your Chromebook. So if you didn't want to get notifications on a specific app, then you would simply turn off notifications. Let's go down to the launcher again. And now we're going to go to the Web Store. So we click the Web Store, and this is going to bring up the Web Store. And you'll see we have a menu here that says Extensions. But we're going to go to Apps, and we're going to type in Google Photos. And we're going to search for the app Google Photos. But you know something? There is no Google Photos app. That's because Google is really phasing out the Chrome Web Store. Most of the apps that you're going to look for will be in the Play Store. So let's go and close out of this, and we're going to go over to the Play Store. So click the launcher again, and now we're going to come to the Play Store. You probably recognize this because you've used it on your Android phone. And up comes the Play Store. We're going to come down here till we see the Google Apps. We're going to search.
To open a list of your installed apps, tap Installed Apps.
Now we're going to search, and we're going to type in Google Photos. And you can see now on my machine there is an update. Now if we click the update, it's going to update our app. So if I click this, you'll see that it's going to start updating. Now this is normally going to take a little while because Google Photos is a big program, so I think that we're not going to wait around too long, or we're not going to wait for this to complete. But you would normally just leave this running in the background. You could minimize the window, and you could go on to other activities on your Chromebook. The apps on your Chromebook will automatically update, so there is no reason for you to manually go in and update. I just, with Google Photos, tend to be really, I use it every day, and I do a lot of teaching of Google Photos, so I want to make sure I have the latest version. So I find myself always heading in there and checking and seeing if there is an update, as there is today. Now remember, that's the Android app, and that would be the same on your Android phone. Also, let's look at the store here. You can do games. These are all the games that are available. There are movies that you can watch on your Chromebook. These are all the movies, TV, top selling, genres, family, studios. And also the books. You can get all the books, audiobooks, all those books along there you can get. And you can, if you click the little hamburger menu at the top, these are the Google Play Store settings, including how you may want to pay for some of these apps if there's a charge. I want you to look at the bottom shelf of my Chromebook here. On the left hand side you will see 2 Google Photos icons and 2 Google Drive icons. They look a little different. So what's the difference between the two? Well, you're so lucky to have a Chromebook because you can have 2 different versions of the same software. So this is the, you'll notice Google Photos. There's a Google Photos with a white circle, and then there's one with a little dot. The same thing with Google Drive. So what's the difference between these? Well, let's have a look at this. So you'll see the little dot by this Google Photos, and you'll see over by Google Drive there's a little dot as well. So let's have a look at the Google Photos with the white background. And this brings up my Google Photos, and this is the Google Photos app. This is the app that's on your Android phone, or it is the app that's on your Chromebook. And in the case of Google Apps, the Google Apps is more functional than the Google website. So let's close out of that, and now we're going to go to the Google Photos website, and this brings up my Google Photos, but it's at photos.google.com. It's not the app. You see, it's at photos.google.com, and it looks different because you can see the web browser. Again, this is the one that's the app. So those are the difference. So there's a difference between the two. This is Google Drive. This is the Google Drive app. We click this, and this brings up my Google Drive app that you would find on your Android phone, or of course it's on your Chromebook. Let's bring up the Google Drive website, and it's at drive.google.com, and you will see that at the top there you have that's the URL where it's at, and this is the web version of Google Drive. You are so lucky to have a Chromebook. This is an app called Snapseed. And Snapseed is an advanced photo editor that I'm going to show you how to use now. So we're going to come over to the launcher, click the launcher, and we're going to go to the Play Store. Click the Play Store, and we're going to come up to Apps. And in here we're going to type in Snapseed. Well, I've already typed it in, so we will do that, and it's going to take us to a free Google app called Snapseed that integrates with Google Photos. I'm not going to open it because it's already installed on my Chromebook. So we're going to come back down now, and let's go along the shelf. Remember, we called it the shelf, until we come along to Snapseed, and I'm going to unpin it because I have it pinned to the shelf. So I've unpinned it. Next, to pin it again, we'll just run the app and click pin. We right click over the app, and it'll pin it back on there, so it's always available for you. Let's open it. Let's open it, and let's add a picture in here. So when we click on the Add the Picture, you'll see Google Photos is linked into it now. We'll come up and have a look. I don't think I have any pictures on here. We could look at images to change, but I don't have any on my Chromebook here. So let's go back to Google Photos. And let's go up to all my photos and let's click on this picture. Now, I'm not going to go into all the advanced features of Snapseed, but the first thing is you'll see there's all sorts of colors that you can set. These are along the right side. The next thing is a whole menu of editing tools that you can use to change your picture. These are much more advanced than the ones that are resident in Google Photos. So there are a lot of things that you can do with your picture, a lot like Photoshop, but free. Now, you come here and you can share your picture, you can save your picture, export it, or even save it in a file on Google Drive. But the cool thing about this app is that most people can only use it on their Android phone, which is a small screen. You get to use it on your Chromebook, which is a big screen. Wow, this is so cool. Now I'd like to play a short video I made a couple of years ago on pinning your apps to the shelf on a Chromebook.
Good morning. It's Ron Brown from the Silvercom CTC Chromebook user group. Today, I'm going to show you how to move some apps onto your shelf in your Chromebook. I would like this done prior to our next SIG, which is Thursday, March the 7th at 10 o'clock in the classroom. So today, you probably recognize this as your Chromebook. You'll see the shelf, which we call the shelf, down at the bottom here. And what we're going to do today is we're going to move two apps to the shelf, the three apps to the shelf. They are called Files, Google Drive, and Docs. So here we go. Taking your Chromebook, now you can either use your mouse, your trackpad, or you can do it with your touch screen if you have one on your Chromebook. So you're going to come over to the launcher. This is this little button here on the left-hand side at the bottom of your screen. The bottom bar here is called the shelf on a Chromebook. So we're going to take and open up our launcher, and the first thing that you're going to notice is that there are 5 apps in the first view here. These are the last 5 apps that you have opened. But the apps that you are going to put on the shelf are not in this view. So we're going to click this little button up here, and this opens all your apps. Now the 3 apps that we're going to do are Files, Google Drive, and Google Docs. So the first one that's obvious is the Google Drive app, which sits right here. You can see it here. Now, how do we pin this to the shelf at the bottom of the screen? If you have a mouse, you come along and you will right-click, just hover your mouse over Google Drive and right-click your mouse, and you will see another menu come up, and it simply says, and then you just select Pin to Shelf, and this will pin it to the bottom. And we'll do that in a minute. That's if you have a mouse. Now, if you don't have a mouse and you're using your trackpad, if you hover your cursor over top of the Google Drive app logo there, and you do a 2-finger click on your, we'll hover over here, and if we do 2-finger click, it opens the window up, and you'll be able to pin it to the shelf. The third way in which you can do it is if you have a touch screen. If you take your finger and you put it over top of Google Drive, now if you touch that icon, it will of course open the app. What you want to do is push down and do a long hold. So you take your index finger and you actually hold it, push it right on top of that touch screen, and you hold it. And that will of course bring up your menu again. So let's go ahead and let's pin this to the shelf. And now you see at the bottom, we have the Google Drive pinned to the shelf. Now I said the next one that we want to do is Google Docs. So we're going to come down here, and again, this is our Google Docs app, and we're going to pin it to the shelf at the bottom. So what I'm going to have you do again is, again, if you have a mouse, you will just hover over top of this app, you right click, and it will bring the menu up. If you have a trackpad, you'll do the 2-finger click and it will bring up this menu, or a long press. And we're going to pin to this shelf. And now we have the Google Docs pinned to the bottom shelf. So let's look at the last one we want to do, are the files. Oh, it's right next to here. So we have our Files app. Again, you have 3 ways of doing it. I'm going to use my mouse today, and I'm going to right click, and we're going to pin it to the shelf. Now, we have all 3 apps pinned to the shelf. So if we come back and click the launcher button, we'll come back to the screen, the main screen. Actually, this is Chrome we're in now, and you'll see that we have these 3 apps ready to load here. So we don't have to go into the second or third screen. These are all ready to use, and we're going to be using this Thursday. And I'd like you to all have these 3 apps moved onto the launch or the shelf prior to our meeting. Hopefully this instruction will work out well. This is the first of a series of instruction videos I plan on making. We'll see you all Thursday.
In this segment, I'm going to show you how to place the Google Photos website on the Chromebook shelf. Also, I'm going to show you how to put the Google Photos app on your shelf like you saw in the previous video. So let's watch this and see how it works. Now watch my cursor as we move along, and we're going to come to Chrome. We're going to open Chrome up. We're going to come up to the top, and you'll see, of course, the 9-dot menu. Open this, and we're going to open Google Photos. This is the Google Photos website. You'll see it's at photos.google.com, and what we want to do is we want to place this on the Chromebook shelf. You'll see this also has the uploader feature, which is not available on the app. So we have the best of both worlds. Click the 3-dot menu at the top. We're going to come down to More Tools. So watch as I scroll down here. I'm going to keep coming down, and we come to More Tools. And we're going to come over to the left and go to Create Shortcut. Click the Create Shortcut, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a shortcut, and this is going to go on the shelf, the Chromebook shelf. And that's what it's going to look like. So we're going to create this, and we're going to come down and look. Where is it? It's not on the shelf. All right, let's close out of this. Now, as we come down to the shelf, remember, I have already pinned Google Drive, the app, and the website. Remember, we saw that earlier on the shelf. So let's do this, and let's get things organized now. So as we come over, we're going to come over to the left, and we're going to click the launcher. We're going to launch this up. We're going to click the little up arrow here, and here's where we need to come. So now we see the white in the background here. Remember the Google Photos on white background, that's the app that we have installed on our Chromebook. To pin this, we're just going to right click and we're going to pin it to the shelf. And now we have the Google Photos app pinned to the shelf. Now then we're going to come over here, and this is the website. Oh gee, Google Photos, come on Chrome, they've now got 2 different images here. But this is the one we created. We're going to right click on this, and we're going to pin this to the shelf. Now we have, let's close our launcher. We have our 2 icons. One is the app, which we're going to click this, and you'll see this is now the Chrome app. This is the same as on your Android phone, much more functional than the website. This is really what you want to be using, and the advantage is we can use it on our Chromebook. The other one here is we click this, and this is the the web-based version, right? So one of the advantages of Chromebooks is you can have both running on your Chromebook. We've now seen how you can get apps for your Chromebook. I've showed you where you can get apps. You certainly can get them at the Chrome Web Store or at the Play Store. I've showed you how to install them and also pin them to the shelf on your Chromebook. But there's another way that we can get software to be useful on our Chromebook, and that is by using an extension to the Chrome browser. And really that's what you're using mostly in a Chromebook, is the Chrome browser. So an extension is a piece of software that makes the Chrome browser more functional. In this example, I'm going to use an extension called a custom cursor. This is an extension that you add on to your Google Chrome, and this will give you you can do custom cursors, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So now we're starting our Chromebook again. We're coming down to Chrome. We're going to come over and we're going to come to the launcher. We're going to go to the Chrome Web Store. And I'm just going to scroll down because I can actually, we're going to look for extensions. We could do a search, but I know the extension I want. And I'm just going to scroll down here. And we should come up in a minute. Here is the extension I want. It's an editor pick, and it's called a custom extension. It's got 4 stars and a lot of good reviews. Click it, and then the next thing you see, there's a little icon here that says Add to Chrome. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We click that, and we read this, and then we can just go over, and we're going to add the extension. We click on Add Extension, and we get a message saying thank you, it has been installed. So what does that mean? Well, let's close out of this, and let's close out of this, and we'll come back and let's look at our Chrome browser. Let's go up to the extensions menu. We'll come up to the right hand side, and we're going to come over to the extensions menu, and we're going to come down the menu items here, and we're going to find, there it is, custom cursor for Chrome. I'm going to pin it. There's a little pin here. If I click this, it's going to pin it to the menu system at the top here and make it a little easier to find. It's probably something I'm going to use a lot. Let's click the 3-dot menu. And let's come down to more tools, and let's go over and click extensions. Now this brings up all your extensions menu. And let's go down and have a look at custom cursor for Chrome. So the first thing is you can turn this extension on or off by the toggle switch here. This is the toggle switch. So you don't actually have to remove it. You could if you wanted to. Let's look at the details. Well, these are all, it tells you the version, the size, and also some options that you have for toggling on or off with this extension. Extensions are a lot of fun. You should probably not have too many extensions open at one time. Probably 6 or 8 is fine. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching my video as much as I've had making it. It's been a lot of fun. We've looked at how you get apps and extensions onto your Chromebook. We've looked at how safe these are. I've showed you how to pin websites to the shelf, such as Google Photos, and also how to pin apps to the shelf. We then looked at extensions. We installed an extension which added increasing functionality to Google Chrome. Hopefully you've learned something from the video. You can go back and play segments of this for educational purposes.